Welcome to Talks with Tracy, with certified hypnotherapist, life coach, and licensed mental health professional, Tracy Claremont. Tracy will share her healing journey and explore the many meaningful alternative healing methods in our world today that will support you in doing your own deepest emotional healing. So please welcome the host of Talks with Tracy, Tracy Claremont. Let the suffering end and the healing begin.
Hello and welcome to Talks with Tracy. I'm your host, Tracy Claremont, coming to you live on the Bold Brave Television Network. So thank you so much for joining us today. And I want to say Happy New Year. My kids were so funny at New Year's. My husband did this really nice fireworks show, and I really like the big fireworks that like pop in the sky. And after each one of those would stop, I'd yell, Happy New Year. And my kids would just look at me like, really, Mom? That looked like I was crazy or embarrassing or something. And it was so funny. And I don't know if any of you out there have teens that, like to correct you and look at you like you're crazy and really make you feel like you're embarrassing to them. My teenager, she'd be like, you can't say that, Mom. It's only 8:00. And I'm like, I can say whatever I want. So anyway, that was my New Year's Eve. We had a lot of fun. I will be doing some episodes on parenting coming up in the very near future. So I look forward to that. I'll be talking about those kind of things, and I'll be sharing my many years of experience with parenting. But for today, I have a whole different topic and an amazing returning guest. I have the incredible Suzy Woo back with me today, and we're going to be talking about, how do we get unstuck? How do we lead a life that's full of purpose and feels meaningful and fulfilling? I took a little time off. I took a few weeks off just to kind of get through the holidays, but also so that I could take part in our tribal ceremonies that we have here at the beginning of every year. We say our prayers and we sing the songs of our ancestors, and we dance and we set our path for the new year. It's like our traditional way of moving into the new year with intention. And, that's what we really want to do. We want to move into this new year with intention. What do we want to see for ourselves? I hope that each one of you have taken the time to really think about what your intentions for this new year are as well. Of course, we can set our intentions any time of the year. It's just that the beginning of the year, it really represents a fresh start. And this is a time of year when people are really thinking about these things, and maybe more than other times of the year. So I am calling today's show Achieving Thrivability. Now, I think maybe the term thrivability is something that my dear guest today made up, but I love it. Thrivability, of course, we all want to thrive in our lifetimes. So often I work with people who really feel stuck, unhappy, exhausted, depleted. They don't really know what they want to do with their lives. They feel like their lives have no direction, no purpose, like they're going nowhere. And they feel like something needs to change. And maybe they even have ideas about what they'd like to see, but they don't activate. Maybe they're afraid of change. That's often the way people feel. And these thoughts and feelings, they can really create some low mood. At the very least, they can really cause us to feel defeated and frustrated. We get trapped. We get trapped in these fears that keep us feeling like we're just like treading water. We're trying to keep our head above water, and we're barely staying afloat. So we don't want to live like that. We can live in a better, brighter way. So, but how do we turn that around? Like I said, it's a new year. How do we do something different? How do we go from barely keeping our heads above water to really thriving, to feeling fulfilled, to living a life that we feel great about? Again, this show is about, not just surviving, but thriving, getting to that place in our lives where we feel great about ourselves and the lives we're leading. So, a lot of times that requires us getting past some emotional issues that are blocking our paths. So we have to do some healing. We have to go inward. We have to really look and be willing to do that work. So, which brings me to my amazing guest today, Suzy Woo. Suzy is a master at thrivability. She coaches people, she guides people every day, taking them on journeys of self-empowerment. So I think she's just like the perfect person to have this discussion with today. And this is Suzy's third appearance. I'm so thankful for her. Just as a reminder, Suzy is a spiritual healer. She's an astrologer, a psychic medium, a channeler, a sound therapist, and she also describes her work and herself as being a breakthrough coach. Just what we need. How do we break through? We need some coaching on that today. So she's the perfect one to talk to us about that. So yeah, she has many different modalities that she uses and has a practice in Ellicottville, New York. I hope I said that right. And provides services online. So I'm so thankful to have her with us today. So please join me in welcoming the amazing and beautiful Suzy Woo.
Happy New
Happy New
Year.
Year. Yes, Happy New Year. So I just feel like you're the perfect person to have this discussion with. First off, you have such amazing energy. And, we're here to inspire people to really go within, do that hard work, achieve a life of purpose and fulfillment and whatnot. So, of course, you're the first person I thought of for this talk. So I did mention that I see a lot of people who come to me where just with a lot of low mood and feeling like they're just stuck and they're going through the motions of life, but not really living. And I have to admit that I spent many years in that place myself. Um, I assume you also see those same people with those same issues.
Right. Yeah. The only difference is I have different initials after my name. So when people look
Mhm.
me up, they see some of it's 1111. I love this. It's 1111 right
Oh.
now. Um, so these new beginnings and the people that I see when they look at my website, there's more of kind of the mystical aspect of it. And it's hard because I don't want to, I just don't like labels, period. But at the same time, you
Mhm.
need to be able to convey what it is that you do so people who find you know that you're in alignment. I do holistic
Mhm.
psychotherapy. I do very
Mhm.
similar things that you do. I just add the
Mhm.
magic of self-empowerment, which lives within the person. So I bring in
Oh.
the spiritual aspect there, where like structured religion will disengage from that. Organized religions, I was raised loosely Roman Catholic, um, take God out of the person.
Mm.
And I am there to help plug you back in.
Yes, yeah. And so often people get stuck in these patterns of looking outward for happiness, and I
So
know, again,
dangerous.
exactly, and myself included, I will say that I would kind of do this thing where it'd be like, well, when this happens, then I'll be happier, or when I have this, then I'll be happier, and none of that leads to happiness, right? We have to
Right.
go
Yeah.
inward and find our connection to
Right.
ourselves,
That's the
right?
secret, really. That's the key. That is the secret
Mhm.
is, but you know what? If you're not ready, like when I was fresh out of my relationship, the violent marriage, and still in a very dark and angry place, and for somebody to say, you have everything you need inside of you. Oh, shut up. Like, so a person has to be ready when you're talking that
Mhm.
way. There's got to be a particular degree of surrender and readiness. And when you go through the
Mhm.
phases of when you're unpacking, uh, decompressing, when you're decompressing after maybe
Mhm.
living a string of life that's you're not in your empowerment, You're people
Mm,
pleasing. You want the approval
right.
of your parents. All of these hollow dead ends, then there's
Mm-hmm.
no other way to go than up. And that's where I can help plug somebody back in and deprogram them. Because ever since as soon as we're born, we learn from our family environment and we become a product of our environment in that way. Our family teaches us this is how we treat one another. This is how we eat at the table or don't. This is how we react to our neighbors. And then when we go to school, there's that rank. And all of that is layers put upon us of identity. And so when we get to around 20 later, when we have our Saturn return, which is around 28 years old, all of our friends might be buying houses and marrying off. And if you're not honoring your own journey, it's kind of like the universe is going, yo, you got to get serious. What do you want to do? And it's so
Mm,
cool that to realize, well, it's not cool in the moment when you realize I don't know, or even when you 30s, 40s, whatever age bracket, when you're running all the way up the road and you're like, where did I go? I'm not
mm,
happy. And I exactly mirror what you said about oh, when the kids graduate from school, I'll make a break for it, or when I save money, or whatever it is. We all find these
mhm,
reasons to justify staying in this holding pattern where there's no growth. And so I like overly simplicity. I like simple, simple. And so everything should boil down to, is this helping me or hurting me? Is it helping me towards my goal or is it taking me away from my goal? But really, what the
right.
problem is we don't know what our goal is. To recognize that we're
Mm,
unhappy is the first thing, and not playing this silly waiting game. You know what? Take it down a step further. When I went to high school and you write on your book covers, it's like, yeah, party till you puke and can't wait to the weekend and all that kind of thing. But in essence, the way that we've been conditioned by society is labor and laborious and toil and suffering. That's all hogwash. We were not put here to suffer. And what's the first thing you see when you walk into a church? You see, pardon me, but a dead guy hanging on a cross. That was not the original church. The original church was about celebrations of life, not about Catholic guilt and Catholic shame and all that kind of thing.
yeah, so maybe the place where somebody could start, and I totally understand when you're saying that somebody needs to be ready. Otherwise, somebody might listen to talk like this and be like, I can't do that. I don't even know what you're talking about. But maybe a place to start would be showing up for yourself, because even when we're talking about asking ourselves what we're needing or what makes us happy, what makes us unhappy, does this make us happy, does this make us unhappy, we can be stuck in considering everybody else but ourselves. So we really need to focus on showing up for ourselves and uh, prioritizing ourselves and our own wants and wishes and needs. And I know that is so hard for so many people.
Right. Yeah. And we're not raised that way. We're not raised to put ourselves first. It's always about taking care of everybody else and always being on the back burner. But you can't give from an empty bucket. So you have to let your own bucket fill up and spill over so that you have enough energy to take care of yourself so you can show up as your own best self for whoever it is that you serve.
Right. And I know that maybe some people think it sounds hokey, and maybe it does sound hokey, but really finding that love for ourselves. And once we find love for ourselves, then we can better love other people, and we can, uh, move through this world with an energy of love and whatnot. And I know, so I always have my kids in my head, and they would be rolling their eyes at me right now when I'm talking about loving ourselves, which I do all the time. Loving ourselves before we can love other people, and showing up for ourselves. But it is so true. And if we don't, we can lead to some we can go down some very dark roads. You know,
And you
I
will. You will.
yes, and I refer to, an extended period, years and years of my life as this period of a grand disconnect from myself, and that's exactly what it was. I didn't realize it at the time. I mean, I realized that, I wasn't happy, but I didn't realize how disconnected I was from myself. And I feel like when people come to me and they are in that place of, I don't know what to do with my life. I don't know what I feel like I have no purpose and meaning. I feel like that's that grand disconnect happening with them as well.
Yeah, I love talking purpose, purpose and vocation. And what's really cool is that stuff is in a person's astrology chart. So I can very easily look at a chart and this rules your vocation. This rules how you show up in the world. This is
Mhm.
how other people see you. And using astrology, there's timing techniques. So you can explain to somebody what areas of your life are going to be lit up, like for these little cycles and for larger cycles. It's one of the coolest tools I've ever learned. Like, I wouldn't say I've mastered it, because if we mastered everything there is to know, we wouldn't have a need to incarnate here. Earth is a school.
Right.
I love helping
Mhm.
people to get unstuck and realize their purpose. To take it down a notch, though, for those watching, listening, if this applies to you, I mean, how do you know?
Mhm.
Are you living your purpose? Do you have joy in your heart? Do you know who you are? Like, what makes
Mhm.
you you? And to go make it very simple, go back to when you were a small child, and what were the things that you used to pretend? What did you use to dream about?
Mhm.
How did you use to portray or play or act? Or what did you do with your stuffed animals? Like, what is it that, like, some people, they know that they were born to be on a stage. Well,
Mhm.
what was that for you, listeners and viewers? What was that? And how far away are you from that now? It might have been something so simple as painting by number. But now you're so disconnected because you're taking care of everybody else that you're not filling what brings yourself joy.
Mhm.
It might be poetry, it might simply be reading or connecting with nature, which is the best thing you can do. But
Mhm.
whatever that is, there is no
Mhm.
reason you can't pick it back up right now. You can go to the hobby store or whatever it is, Dollar General, something low cost. We tend to make these big mountains.
Mhm.
Oh, I can't. We make all these reasons to justify why we are not
Mhm.
in there being available for ourselves, showing up for ourselves every day. And instead, how can I help everybody else? Well, doing this is only perpetuating your emptiness on the inside. So many people,
Mhm.
wonderful, beautiful hearts, going and helping the world, but at the end of the day, they're still hollow and lonely on the inside.
Oh.
Once you plug in, you know what? I am a creature that was manifested by this grand creation. The little miracle of a baby, the miracle of, you're still that miracle. And the disconnect is that you forgot. So you want
Oh.
to treat yourself like the miracle that you are. And then everyone in your circle should also be treating themselves and you as a miracle. And if they don't belong in your circle. As you treat
Oh.
yourself a certain way, you are demonstrating to the rest of the world how to treat you, because you're going to attract what you feel on the inside. It's a mirror. When I don't feel good about myself, I attract people to help me to not feel good about myself. But the real shift is when we are vested and invested in us and we figure out, I'm not a loser, whatever everyone on the outside is telling you, I'm not stupid or whatever, because I am this miracle energy. Then you ignite in your heart. And in church, their religion, they'll call that the Holy Spirit. It is in you, it's not outside of you. And when you get that answer, that's when things start clicking and lighting up. And when somebody knows who they are, there is nothing more powerful or attractive than when somebody knows who they are. It means you're showing
Mhm.
up as you. You're not pretending you're somebody else. You're not lowering yourself
Mhm.
because somebody else says you're shining too brightly. You are there, whoever you are. You are being all of who you are. Oh, it's just the juice right there. And I want that for everybody.
I want that for everyone too. I love how you just said how, and we think it, we say these things all the time, and we think in these ways when a new life comes into the world and a baby is born, and we think, oh my gosh, what a beautiful miracle! Look at this beautiful baby, and and then that belief about it being the person being such a miracle, it really does kind of fade away, and we forget that we're that, that's us, we're still that, we forget
Well,
that.
you
And I
know
would
what?
imagine,
People will say, our own parents will say to us, well, you're not special. It's not all about you. And so it's very deeply ingrained into us that we're no longer this outstanding miracle. And now we just got to file in and become a number and fit in and don't stick out and
mm,
don't make so and so feel bad. And all these other, apprehensions that make us
mm,
fear going and participating in our lives. What happens,
right,
especially for people who are super sensitive and empathic and those very gentle souls, is it's too scary to go out and be myself because I might get picked on. And also if somebody's real genius energy, real smart people and real sensitive people. And in astrology, this is going to be Aquarius and Pisces. So that's not a very earthy energy. Those people struggle. They're very smart anyway. So that kind of an energetic person goes to school, you're in grammar school, they go to class and they're getting picked on because they're so sensitive, but they're feeling what everybody else is feeling. And what happens eventually is they create a new persona. So it's like, I'm putting on this costume because
mm,
this is the only way I can get through my day. And what happens is, over as you build relationships, you are now not who you are. You're not genuine, but you need to get through your day. So sometimes you need to go along to get along. And then over a period of years, I like your phrase, grand disconnect. And that's what happens. Over a period of years, you're very separate from who you were created to be. And now you've become who you are conditioned to be. And I want to
mm,
dissolve that conditioning, deprogram you, unbrainwash you, and plug it back into source energy so you are the you that you were created to be. The longer
mm.
somebody goes on in this pattern, which is usually decades and decades and decades,
Yes,
the thing is, they've established this persona that is not truly and genuinely themselves.
right. Yeah, and it really is this deprogramming, because all of this conditioning, it is like programmed into our nervous systems, right? And we
Totally.
react,
Yeah.
our nervous systems are firing all over the place. And even just the thought of deprogramming and becoming our own beautiful, miraculous, unique selves can be can trigger our nervous systems again, for the
It's
exact reason that
scary.
you're talking about. Yeah, because we have been conditioned to be uh, someone other than who we truly are. So even the thought of doing all of this can be overwhelming. And that's why I wanted to talk about it in like what you said, in simple terms. All of this doesn't have to be completely overwhelming and feel unachievable. Connecting with
Right.
our true selves, going inward and reconnecting, it is possible, and it's so
Right.
important to do. And that's what I really, want you and I today to impress upon people, that it is possible, and there are places to start with that whole thing, and we can deprogram ourselves from everything that has happened. I know that you said, as you said the other day, that when we come into this earth, when we're born, and come into this world when we're born, we're 80% connected to our higher power, or the universe, and we start
Mm-hmm.
this, immediately we begin to become a product of our environment. And that's what you were just talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah, totally. I don't know if I'm getting blurry. I'm sorry if I am.
Yeah, it is a little
Um,
blurry, but So I would.
But sometimes when people do this, it brings clarity. I don't know if that'll work.
Oh, maybe.
Not really.
It's time to break for a commercial. Maybe an engineer can help us with that. But when we come back, Suzy, I'd love to continue this talk, and I'd like to really, really talk about how, like, some simple things we can do to reconnect, so that people don't feel it's out of their reach or impossible. And I know you have some great ways of, reconnecting to our hearts and our energies. So when we come back, let's talk about that reconnecting. So yeah, we're going to break for a commercial. You're watching Talks with Tracy on Bold Brave Television Network. We'll be right back.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to easysense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's easysense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness: Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back to Talks with Tracy. I have the pleasure, the honor of visiting today with the amazing, incredible Suzy Woo. Thank you, Suzy, again for being here. When before the break, we've just been talking about this need to reconnect with ourselves, and it really is a process of going inward. And I'd kind of like to impress upon people just how deeply inward all of this goes. This emotional experience that we carry with us, and conditioning and whatnot, just how deeply inward it goes. Now, I heard you say, not today, but in another time, I listen to you all the time and study everything you say. I write it down, and I just love learning from you. So you did say that you studied under Dr. Bruce Lipton. Can you tell us a little bit about who he is, and why that's significant, what he has taught us about going inward?
Absolutely. So he's kind of a hero to me. Now I've not actually met him yet, so I study his work very much. So Dr. Bruce Lipton is a cell biologist, and when he discovered epigenetics, which I'll explain in 2 seconds, the college that he worked under dropped him, and he lost his funding, and so he went independent. And what he discovered is that you are a product of your environment down to a cellular level. And the example used is, let's say you are a female and you are born in a family where all the females have breast cancer, just as an example. And will you, as this female, get breast cancer? The answer would be yes. Why? It's because that's all everyone's talking about. they're talking about the treatment and this and that and everything that goes with having that condition. But what happens if you found out at, let's say, 30 years old that you were adopted and none of your biological family had any markings of breast cancer whatsoever? Will that person have the breast cancer? Yes, because their environment has already programmed them to, it's why when somebody is psychosomatic and they're afraid of getting everything in the book, they're gonna get everything in the book because your thoughts create the outcome. When you have a particular environment, that is your training. You are born with every single disease possible. Everything is there. The conditions have to be right. Whatever is present will flip those little switches on. And that's why you can also flip those switches off. And that's where Dr. Joe Dispenza, who is also one of my heroes, who was told he'll never walk again after a really horrible accident. And he not only does he walk, but he works with Heart Math Institute. And so all of this correlation between our thoughts, between our programming, our environment, dictate our health. So if you think you're going to get XYZ, you are ordering it right off the menu. When you are realigned that I am forever expanding, just like our universe and our galaxy, and the frequency of love is not fixed or finite, it's ever expanding. When you align with that, you're not going to catch stuff. I know when things happen, there's illnesses that go through or whatever. I will get like a little symptom, usually in my sleep. I'll get like a pain behind my eyes if it's like a bad flu or the COVID that happened in 2020. I never got it. My whole family got it, but because my consciousness is at a higher level, you're not eligible to get anything that is below. So as you increase your conscious awareness, and if you can get yourself to at least neutrality, which means somebody could say, you know what, you're stupid. And you're going to observe them and you're going to say to yourself, hurt people hurt people. I give them permission to be who they are. I don't need to defend myself. I don't need to entangle with them. And instead, I send them love because obviously somebody who is behaving that way, that's what they need. Not to their face, but just from your own awareness, right? That's why you don't want to fuel bullies, which hopefully you were taught that when you were little. You don't want to entangle with them. Because as soon as you are like, no, I'm not, now you've just lowered yourself to their frequency. And now it's going to take you effort to get back to where you were. And we don't want to have a lot of effort in our life. When you're living in the frequency or the bandwidth of love and compassion, those are our highest frequencies that we can manage. And then you never get sick. You just don't.
Right. I totally agree. And Dr. Lipton, just to clarify, he's a cell biologist. He's a scientist, right?
Oh, absolutely. So what he does now, it's the marriage between science and spirituality. And it's real, and more is getting published. We have Nassim Harriman, who does sound and vibration and spatial relationship with the galaxy and the gravity. And so I get all geeked out over those people who are they're in the trenches with the science aspect. Genius, brilliant people. Right. So that's what I study, because I don't trust anything. It's like, I'm not buying into that. But then I found Dr. Bruce and Joe and all these wonderful, even Lynn McTaggart, who leads meditation, big scale meditation, like after the 9/11 incident. So these horrible things happen. However you believe about it, they happen. But what happens that wasn't planned on is there is this upsurge of compassion. So through this negative, let's say, targeted event, the other thing that comes in is compassion, and that is what actually heals people. And what Dr. Lynn McTaggart does is, where there was a lot of warring going on, and it was all measured, like scientifically, and she would have people meditate. I think it was a guided meditation, and the violence in that area dropped like significantly. This also can change random digit selectors. I forget what you call it. Random digit select, like I forget what it's called. But consciousness can change matter. And that's why quantum healing works. I have shrunken tumors in Germany from my office and prevented that person from needing surgery. So this is real and it's measurable and it's teachable.
Right. And this is I feel like our whole society had a grand disconnect, right? Because this, if you look back like thousands of years, this is what was happening. And it's
Right.
always been happening. We just became so disconnected from it. So
As
I
we
love what you're here.
exit the era of Pisces,
Okay.
so this is a 20,000 year cycle. Well, we have a 20,000 year cycle, which is Kali Yuga, that's a little separate. And then the Piscean age, which was only 2,000, not 20,000 years. So that's coming to an end now. It's the end of dark times. This has been predicted by so many prophets. And anyway, so this is awesome that we're all like alive during this huge transformation of our planet and consciousness period. And it is a little bit of a resurgence of the hippie, but what was the hippie? It was peace, love, and understanding. And now it is a big upsurge. And so it's going to be through these natural disasters. I didn't get to finish something. The end of the Piscean era is delusion, illusion. Where is the government or Big Brother pulling the wool over my eyes? It's disempowerment. Because if you don't know who you are, by Big Brother putting chemicals and fluoride in the drinking water, the processed sugars and foods that for some reason are okay in America to consume, that are not allowed in other countries, all the other countries in the world. What it does is it paralyzes our pineal gland, and that is our built-in antenna, which is our cosmic connection to one another, to our greater power. And when that can't move around anymore, we're not in there, we're not empowered, and we're much easier to control.
Mm-hmm. Right. And we're moving into this whole new era of, or a whole new place and time.
Yeah,
That's what you're
and it's the
saying.
Aquarian era, and that is going to be by the people for the people. So it's so fabulous. It's so wonderful. This is more towards community, barter. Think of like the older time extended families where we help one another. We don't just stick them and lock them away or whatever it is. I bake bread and I'm a doctor and we can exchange or whatever it is. That's what we're moving more towards. It's going to be communities, community style living, and also very rapid technological advances, mind blowing. We're moving into another cycle of about 500 years that you can expect to connect with extraterrestrials just like this, just like calling them on the phone. So those devices or something like that, you can expect that. More space travel, inhabiting on other planets. It's not an old idea. It's not a out there idea. It's reality. I don't want to go all the way down that rabbit hole. Let's come back to the topic, which is self-empowerment
Right.
and
So,
getting
but
unstuck.
yes. And again, though, I think you're still along the lines of connection. When you're talking about community, reconnecting with each other, reconnecting with our communities and whatnot. So, also, I want to just just restate the need for us to show up for ourselves and put ourselves first. It's not selfish to ask yourself, what do you want? What matters to you? What would you like to do? Again, we've been conditioned to feel like that is selfish of us to do, so we don't do a lot of that. We care for others and we lose ourselves. But this is really a time to show up for ourselves and reconnect with ourselves. Um, I am taking training from you, and I love that. And yesterday in our training, we did an exercise that was reconnecting to our hearts. And I would love to ask you if we could do that exercise here on the show today. Um, but first off, because it is something that viewers, people who listen to this, can just take a few minutes for themselves and do and feel what it feels like to reconnect with yourself and your heart. Again, I think people kind of see this as this big thing that they don't know how to do. There's very simple practices that we can start right now doing
Yes,
to connect to
absolutely.
ourselves. So I'd love it if you guide us through a
Oh,
process
yeah.
like that, that people then can then go on and use in their own personal lives to really build that connection to a place. I see it as a place to start, and I
Mm-hmm,
want
mm-hmm.
people to feel that feeling of
Okay,
reconnecting to their heart. So if you would do that, that'd be amazing.
let's do it.
All
Okay, so I'm
right.
going to invite everybody to rest your eyes closed. And I'd like to invite you to bring your awareness from your head down into your heart, into your chest. And now imagine breathing into your heart as if like a paper bag. You're breathing into your heart. See your heart receiving this oxygen that you are on purpose intentionally sending into it. Because when is the last time you ever paid any attention to your own beating heart? Breathe into your heart and feel that expansion and slight falling back in. And feel your heart getting excited. Wow, you're paying attention to me. Wow. Continue to breathe in and out of your heart. And your heart is going to begin to breathe you back, almost like a yin yang symbol. I'm breathing into my heart is breathing me. Thank you, heart. You have been, allow these words to be your own. You, my beautiful heart, have been beating for me ever since I was in utero. If it weren't for you, I'd be a goner. Thank you. I see you. I love you, my beautiful heart. Continue to breathe into your heart. Now your heart's getting a little sparkly and starting to clear some of the darkness because having ignored your heart for so long, the cells of your heart have consciousness and intelligence and need recognition just like you do. Continue to breathe into your heart as your heart is getting more and more joy filled because you're paying attention. And as you do this, ask your heart now, my beautiful heart, what is it that you need in this right now moment? And you will have gotten an immediate feeling, a pulse, a response, an emotion, a word, a vision. And I would like for you to vow to yourself to be what it is that your heart expressed that it needs the most. It's your heart. What did it say to you? I'd like you to commit to yourself, to your heart, that you will deliver and honor what it is that you need because you're worth it. You matter. And now imagine that as you breathe in, all of the cells start to dance in your whole body. As you're breathing in oxygen, your heart is like, yeah, they get it. Woo! And your heart's turning on this big light. And you're breathing into your heart, and now you're breathing into every cell of your entire body. And feel how your whole body is starting to respond and react. Thank you, my beautiful feet. You have carried me all of these miles for all of my life, and I didn't stop to thank you. Thank you, beautiful feet. Thank you, cells. I'm finally showing up at the helm. I'm taking the reins. I love you, my beautiful cells. Thank you to my beautiful human condition. I love my human condition. And allow this to also be yours to commit to yourself, because you must speak truth to yourself. From this point forward, I promise I will find new ways to love myself every day. And let us change I will to I am. I promise, starting right now, I am learning new ways to love myself every day and breathe. And what I am hearing is a huge audience going, yes, yay, yay. That's your cells. That's the intelligence of your cells showing up. Take just a couple of seconds to feel this. And I'm just going to send a little enhancement to help you know that this is real. Up and down your spine. I agree to let all of the old energy and this efforting, I am prepared to drop it, to drop my old emotional baggage, any people pleasing, anything living out of alignment with my integrity. I agree to now drop and breathe and feel. And now take a nice, big, beautiful breath, feeling your whole body illuminated like a million billion suns. Smile on the exhale, and whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. That's just such a nice example of how none of this has to be um, hard, super hard. It's just about taking a moment and going within yourself, and um, maybe the process also with connecting with your heart. Maybe it involves. I know with me, it also involves some forgiveness of
Mhm.
myself. I in the future I'm planning on doing a show on shame and things like that as well. But I had to forgive myself for some things that and let that out as well. So maybe that might be
Yeah.
part of a person's
Here's
process.
a statement
Also,
that you guys can use the next time you go into this heart space. I forgive myself for all of the times that I wasn't there, that I didn't support myself. I forgive myself for all of the times that I wasn't there. And I promise from this point forward to be available and to be listening and to value myself. Just as I value the puppies, the kittens, the children, the rainbows, as much love as I exude to those items, I now allow to be reciprocated back in to me, because I am the same energy as all of that. I am plugged in to universal oneness. I forgive myself and I am there now and going forward.
beautiful. Yes,
Hope people are
reconnecting to.
taking notes on this one. Good
I
things to write
appreciate.
down for, New Year.
Hmm.
How do you look at
Yeah,
yourself? It's so important.
so important, so important. And again, I just love that example because it's I mean, it just takes a few minutes. And if we did that, if um, if each of us decided to do a very simple practice like that every day, then that's what gets that going inward and healing going, and the releasing happening, so that the blockages are removed and we can move towards that. The rest will come. We'll start seeing our greatness, knowing we're miracles, seeing our purpose, living in a fulfilling way, because we will draw that to us. I love how you said, you know, uh, you don't get sick because you're here and you don't allow it in. I do that all the time where, I have a big family and they bring home colds and things like that all the time. And even like if at the very beginning, if I feel like I'm starting to get sick, my husband will be like, "Are you feeling okay?" And I'm like, "I am fabulous. I am great. I am not
Hmm.
sick. I don't get sick." And then I don't get sick. So I mean,
Yes.
it's all very meaningful. So we are at the end of our show and we just have another minute left. I'd love for you to say how people can find you to, if they want to continue on with what we just kind of opened up and started today. How can we reach you for your services?
Sure. The easiest thing is just to go to my website, which is suzy-woo.com. It's SUZY-WOO.com. And
Mhm.
all of my socials and stuff is there. And I also do have a YouTube channel with lots of videos that I've built over the
Oh.
years about helping to heal various chakra points, your throat, which is really important because that's the seat of communication. And
Mm-hmm.
anything I can help with, just reach out via email.
Perfect. Thank you. So thank you again so much for being here. I look forward to all the training that I'm going to be doing with you, and I'm sure that that'll come out in this show because I'll be so excited and wanting to share. So thank you again. Truly inspirational. I really appreciate you, and thank you everybody out there who takes the time to listen and watch the show. I hope that, I mean, the intention is for this to be helpful. And
Thank
I
you.
truly hope that's what we've achieved today. So, um, yes, thank you. I appreciate everybody, and I'm sending love. I'll be back next week with a guest, another returning guest, Heather Rowan Robbins, and she's going to be talking about a little bit kind of what Suzy kind of touched on today. She'll be talking about from an astrological standpoint what we can expect in our 2025 year. So that'll be next week. Until then, this has been Talks with Tracy on Bold Brave Television Network. I'll see you next week. See you, Suzy.
Bye-bye.
This has been Talks with Tracy. Join us each week as Tracy and her guests will come together and realize that underneath it all, we are all the same and never alone. So join us each week and let Talks with Tracy be your safe place to land in your healing journey. Right here, Thursdays, 11 a.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network.